Hi, this is Nick Baumgartner, Manager of Accessible Technology at Ball State University. Today, I'd like to take 10 short minutes and show you 10 key features in Windows 10 that every user should know with a disability or not. So let's jump right in. The first feature I'd like to show you is the Microsoft Magnifier. And this can be accessed through the Windows key and by typing in magnifier, and you'll see that it'll come up right here. You're going to see that what it does is it creates a magnified area on the screen. And there's also another option called docked mode, where you can create a magnified little strip here at the top while still having your screen on the bottom side intact. So at any rate, you have some different options on how you'd like to use this. You can go from, right now I have it set to 400, but you can go from 200 all the way up to an almost unusable level of magnification. Once you get to, once you're getting to this sort of level of magnification, you don't have a very big field, so it actually becomes harder to read, and we recommend other ways of going about utilizing computers. Another key set of features are going to be found under the Ease of Access menu. You can access this easily just by hitting the Windows key and typing in Ease of Access, and then you're going to see that you have many different Ease of Access options that you can choose from. So here we are in our Ease of Access menu, and we're going to go down this list here on the left, and I'm going to show you the different ways in which you can make your computer easier to use with or without a disability. So our top option here is called Display, and you have some different options in here. For example, you can make your text larger, so that way you can see the text a little bit easier, maybe without having to use the magnifier setting. So you can see that you can make it very big, over 200% magnified, or you can put it back to normal and anywhere in between. You also have the option to make other sorts of things bigger, including icons, sliders, and other things. So you can see here I have this set to 175, 150. So maybe for people that need more magnification on icons or sliders or other things, I would recommend this second setting as opposed to the text bigger setting, because this is both going to make text and icons bigger. You also have the option to change your mouse settings. For example, you can make your mouse pointer very large to make it easier to track on the screen. You can also have it be an inverted color from the background, which will make it stick out and be easier to see. You can also choose a neutral color that's a little bit brighter than white or black, just as you may prefer. It may be easier to see it as a bright yellow or as an orange, but at any rate, you have a considerable amount of control over what your cursor can look like and making it easier to see. The text cursor can show where you are when you're editing a large document. For example, if you're in the middle of a paragraph, it'll be much easier to see where your cursor is if we have these cursor indicators right here. As you can see, it has not only just the vertical line, but also has some color circles on either side of it to kind of help show where your cursor is in the body of text that you're editing. You can also choose different colors. If you find a brighter color, will make it easier to see. We showed you the magnifier before, but there's also other settings. You can set your default if there is a specific level that you're used to using. You can have your magnifier automatically turn on when you sign into your computer so that you don't have to worry about finding it. You can also invert the colors on your magnifier. Many users find that a dark background with light text is easier to read for longer periods of time, and this has, in mainstream technology use, given way to the age of many features such as dark mode on many of your favorite apps and operating systems. Color filters allow those with disabilities such as color blindness to be able to utilize a computer that sometimes uses color to convey meaning or context. So what we can do is we can go ahead and just turn on this color filter. Users have two options when they're choosing different color filter modes. One is a complete grayscale, where it'll be black and white and the shades of gray. The other modes have to do with the major colorblind color combinations, such as red and green and blue and yellow. So you can see that it changes what this little pie chart looks like. and it provides more contrast for the colorblind user to be able to determine the changes in colors and to be able to understand more context of what this pie graph is trying to show. High contrast mode is similar to the invert colors feature in Microsoft Magnifier, but across the entire operating system. If we turn on high contrast mode, you're going to see that the colors are going to somewhat invert, whereas there'll be a black background with a light text as opposed to a light background with dark text. We also have an option to have high contrast with white, where the background and the foreground are more divergent as far as colors are concerned. The white is brighter and the black is blacker. And then they have a couple of other configurations. For example, this yellow or sometimes a cream color on a black background is pretty recognized among teachers of the blind and visually impaired as a good color scheme for users that have chronic eye fatigue. So again, that's a good thing if maybe if you don't have a visual problem, but you just read a lot and you're experiencing a lot of eye fatigue on the computer. Consider turning on high contrast mode and using this black background with the yellow or cream color text. It's very helpful. For users with hearing issues, we have some options here in audio settings. For example, if users only have use of one of their ears or can otherwise not utilize stereo audio, we have this option right here that will make all audio mono. So what that'll do is that'll create a consolidated audio channel with all the audio files in one channel, as opposed to splitting it up into right and left. That'll make people who are using audio only out of one ear or one track, it'll be much, much easier. We also have audio alerts. Usually when you hear a ding, if you get stuck on somewhere and make an error, that's a auditory cue, but for people who are deaf, that's not very effective. So what we can do is we can have this visual cue that can either be a flash or other sort of visual indicator that will tell the hearing impaired person to say, oh, there's something wrong here, there's an error, or you need to be notified for one reason or another. Windows 10 has a robust series of features for users who have a hard time interacting with a normal set of peripherals, such as a keyboard and mouse. Windows has a speech dictation feature where you can talk what you'd like to say instead of type. You just turn it on, and then you can go into Microsoft Word, and you can start talking instead of typing. It will take a little bit for Microsoft to learn the nuance of your voice, but with practice, it becomes very good. It can be a viable alternative to typing, especially if you struggle. Windows also has some keyboard features. Two that I'd like to highlight are sticky keys and filter keys. Sticky keys allows a user to have a key stuck down. For example, if a user with gross motor issues is trying to type and they need to type a capital S, you can use sticky keys to hit shift and then let go, and the computer will still register that the shift is being held down, and they can hit the S. After hitting the shift key, and the computer will still produce a capital S. So in essence, the sticky key sticks the modifier keys to make it easier for people with orthopedic or other sorts of issues interacting with a keyboard. It'll make it easier for them to be able to use that. Along the same lines are filter keys. Let's say if someone has a tremor or other sorts of disabilities like that, filter keys will help them from unintentionally pressing keys that might be next to the key that they meant, or double tapping a key that they meant to single tap. So in essence, this will create a lag time, or you need to press down on the key for a for a longer period of time for that to register as a keystroke, and that will make it easier to prevent unwanted keystrokes, which will ultimately allow you to produce word processing or other sorts of computer tasks much faster. For users that may have a hard time using a mouse because of fine or gross motor dexterity issues, Windows has the option for you to use your mouse with a keypad. Most keyboards have a keypad on the right that has, the 1 through 9 with the add, subtract, multiply, divide, and an enter button. Instead, you can now use that as a mouse pointer, where you can use the directional keys that go along with the 1 through 9 keypad to help the mouse move around the screen. Last but not least, Windows has a special feature called eye control, where people such as quadriplegics or people that don't have the use of their upper limbs to control a mouse or a computer can still get full use out of the PC just with the use of their eyes instead of a mouse. Eye control uses a very special camera that reads the iris of the user as that user is staring at a specific element on a computer screen. That computer will then correlate that specific location of the eye stare to the specific component on the screen. And then that particular person will be able to interact with those elements using their eyes instead of their hand to manipulate a mouse. So this is a very cool and a very advanced feature, especially to be in a stock onboard accessibility suite on a computer. So there you have it, 10 accessibility features every Windows user should know with or without a disability. Thanks for spending a few minutes to learn about Windows accessibility with me. If you need any help with any sort of accessibility issues on Mac, PC, or otherwise, you can feel free to contact the ACT Lab. Our email is actlab@bsu.edu, and our phone number is 765-285-8275. Thanks and have a good day.